the last year also I have been to the interview, and I missed by a considerable margin, and I was not able to perform well in the interview. But I guess I think one thing which I needed the most there was motivation, because content and all the subjects, everything, the questions, all we get outside. But motivation is the one which I feel is very important for a person who has seen a failure or who has not been able to reach their goal in the first or in the initial attempts. So I think at that point of time, there are very few people who have supported me, and Vishnu sir is definitely one of them. And I met him in the interview stage last year when I've been to one of the mock interviews which he has conducted. And this year also in the interview stage I've come back to him. And in the interview stage, all there were around 4 to 5 of us who have been preparing. We around 5 of our friends who were preparing quite good for quite a long. And Vishnu sir has been there to guide us. He has taken classes separately for people who are selected for the interview. I think he used to prepare notes every day, and so the amount of hard work which we used to put, he has made us easy for us. So I think in the interview stage, he has definitely helped us a lot, and because of the motivation which he has also given me and the confidence he had in me, that is why I like to take help from him. So I passed out from IIT Hyderabad in computer science in 2016. So in 2016, after I passed out, I got a good job in Flipkart as a software developer, and that was a dream job in a way. And I worked there for around 2 years. And after 2 years, into 2017, one of my very close friends, his name is Sai Teja. So he has cleared UPSC in 2017 in his first attempt. And until then, I have not even dreamt of preparing for UPSC. So at that point of time, I've seen a lot of change in him, in his behavior or in his conduct or in his thought process. So that is what attracted me towards these services, and the experience which he kept on sharing later on has also given me an impetus to prepare for civil services. And at that point of time in 2018, I decided to quit my job and start preparing for civil services. And then in 2019, I gave my first attempt, in which I reached till the interview stage. And then later on, I was not able to get into the final list. And again, yeah, I thought, okay, let me give one more attempt before joining back a job, because always we need to have a plan B. So I thought I also had a plan B, because I have also worked for 2 years, and I can get a job with that experience and with that skill set which I have developed. So after giving mains this year, I have joined back as a software developer in one of the startups in Bangalore. So I parallelly prepared for interview along with working in the startup. And yeah, finally I'm happy that I'm happy that I achieved whichever rank I got. So yeah.
Hello, sir. First of all, congratulations, sir. Sir, aspiring for IAS is everyone will do like that. But the thing is, to make that, overcome the challenges, to become this one is a very good aspect. So, what is the main problem for what I am facing? Like, within this span of time, this couple of months, I was studying the concept very effectively, but the interpreting the things is too much problem for me. Like one more thing, when I'm writing the questions for answers, like how to interpret the current affairs in the present context, it's a big problem for me. I'm going current affairs daily basis, but the thing is, what when I went back, I'm just thinking like how we have to overcome this challenge, how we have to write the good answer. Like every day I was thinking, every day when I'm going to sleep, I'm thinking like this. Yeah, how can we do this? And how can, on second question is, how can we make the current affairs body strongly? So this is the second question, sir. Please give us some valuable keys to open our minds to think diversely.
Like from what I understood from from your question is that how should I use current affairs properly is what in answers. Is that your question or did I interpret your question wrongly? Okay. So how to utilize current affairs?
Make the, like some of the challenges which are facing lately, like how to make the content very effectively to use for
Okay. So current affairs, what I used to follow for mains especially is I took a course online and there so I took a course in Forum IS, which is a current affairs course which Dipin sir has been teaching. So you choose any of the course as such, and you choose that particular course and you take notes from them, and I kept on revising those notes only. And current affairs, apart from taking a course, I used to follow YouTube a lot. So YouTube is my go-to place for current affairs or any of the news, because I find it very difficult to sit and read, go through each line. But when I look at something visually and when I listen to them by relaxing, so that is more effective for me, and I can relax and study at the same time, best of both worlds. So that is why I chose YouTube as one of the single most source, and some of the courses which were offered online as my go-to place for current affairs. And whenever we go through such current affairs, I used to note down the points as well. And so I used to constantly, while revising the notes, I used to constantly think, how can I use this note, a particular quote or a particular fact in my answers. And as we keep attempting some tests, I used to try out in by including those facts or including those quotes in my answers and see if they are working out or not. So slowly, by building up, by writing the notes, revising them, and by slowly utilizing them in your answers and getting them corrected, we can get the best of the current affairs is what I feel.
Congratulations, sir, getting the rank. My doubt is solving the M6 daily basis or weekly, complete the syllabus. My doubt is, and then next doubt is, I read more content. In writing, I am unable to input the answer. Oh, what is my problem?
Okay. So I think the straight answer should be practice, right? Because and there also you can effectively try to practice that by looking at the toppers' answers. So what I think worked out for me to some extent was I used to download toppers' answers from previous years, and I used to look at the answers, how they are writing and what points are they including. So if I like repeatedly going through those answers and trying to find out, there will be multiple toppers who write different in different ways. So by going through them, I found one of the rankers answer writing close to me. So how in the style how I write the answers, it was very much similar to that. So I thought, okay, let me adopt this person's answer writing because it is easier to adapt, and that is how I try to overcome that issue. And to answer your first question regarding the MCQs and how to effectively solve them, I think prelims is all about writing as many tests as possible, according to me, because prelims in the first attempt also, once I completed the syllabus, I started doing question sets, and while I was preparing for the first time also, while I was going through some of the books as well, I used to practice some answers. So there is one book published by Disha Publications, the PYQs of prelims. So once I go through the modern history syllabus, I used to solve the questions there, and I used to see, okay, how many questions I am able to solve. And the second time I did that, I used to solve that questions again. So if you ask me how many questions I solved, I think more than more than around 50-60 tests I solved the first time. And the second time in the second year, when I gave the attempt, after the interview results came only, I started preparing for prelims again in this attempt 2020, and I had only 45 days. So in those 45 days also, I solved around 50 tests. So sometimes I used to, in a single day, I used to solve like 2 or 3 tests and just look at the answers and analysis and write down notes from them. So I was that kind of person who was not very interested in revising again and again for prelims because there is too much of content. So more effort I think should be put on how can we derive the answer from those 4 options, because the options are in front of, the answer is in front of us, it is just hiding in one of those 4 options, and how do we pick that guy, pick the black sheep, right? So I think by using some etymological approaches, like for example, there are some, for example, there was a question I remember in one of the mock tests, about a minor plate which was recently discovered, the tectonic plates, right? So about a recently discovered minor tectonic plate, and the name sounded very similar to a Spanish word, and the question was where was this particular plate situated, and out of all the options I found a Spanish speaking country, and that is what I tried to put. So I think already you are taking a lot of risk, calculated risk, by preparing for civil services. Use the same risk taking ability in solving the prelims paper. So how to take a calculated risk, because without taking calculated risk we cannot solve the prelims paper and we cannot clear it, I believe. So I think last year also mostly, sorry,
You also face.
yes, I also faced the same issue, because in last year I think I got one of the lowest marks in interview, and this year I feel the score has been decent enough, because I am there in the list. I believe if the score was very less I wouldn't have gotten this rank. So I think the thing which how I changed my approach was, I looked at why did they give me very less marks. So I analyzed as soon as I came out of the interview. I started writing down how I performed in the interview. I wrote down the answers and questions, and I used to think constantly. Like every day I used to think, okay, here I would have done better. Here I would have given a much better answer. So in the first time in the interview, after I got the marks, I was not expecting such less marks last time also. But once I got the marks, I started analyzing, okay, how they would have received this answer. I thought this answer was very good. I thought this answer was good enough, but they wouldn't have received this in a right manner. So I started making some changes, because some of the issues which I found there was, I was not taking some time to think properly and answer back. And I guess a civil servant should have that attitude and that composure and calmness, and he should take time and answer anything. So in the interview, that is what I changed majorly. I used to take a few seconds, 4 to 5 seconds, and answered. And I also adapted a few things. For example, in this year's interview, I prepared with 4 or 5 of my friends. I think sir was also aware of my friends, so he used to help us all, and we used to discuss every day, almost in the initial days. And so in the initial days, my interview was on the very first day, and I thought, okay, one of the qualities which is needed in a civil servant or in a good citizen, of course, is to accept and admit your mistakes and be calm, be composed, and answer slowly. These are the main things. Because they are looking at your conduct. How are you conducting yourself? How are you presenting yourself in front of such eminent people in the board? So what I did, as soon as I entered the UPSC building, I started behaving very, how I wanted to behave in the interview. How I wanted to be in the interview in front of eminent people, I started behaving the same way. Right from the very first person who has shown us, who has checked the ID card and allowed us inside. So with a positive, humble attitude, I entered into that building, and that is how I was throughout the 3 hours which I waited for before my interview, before I was called into the room. So as soon as I entered the room, there also a few questions were asked. If in one of the questions I did a mistake, I accepted that I was wrong, in that question, and I think that is one of the main reasons which also helped me, improving my score.
One minute. I want to share my experience with Somit. So one thing was there in Somit, he used to speak very fastly. So every time I used to tell slowly please. I used to feel whether Somit kuch bura manega kya, what Somit will think. But still, I think in front of 15 students also, Somit, first you stop, you speak slowly, later we will answer, we will talk. So that was one thing. I think it has been improved, no?
Yes, definitely.
First of all, congratulations, sir. I would like to know what is the strategy you use it for optional and how you manage the both optional and GS at the same time, and tips for answer writing, sir.
So my optional is political science and international relations, and firstly I chose that optional because my friend cleared with the same optional, and he was also an electrical engineer in my college, and I know what subjects he was strong in, and political science was definitely not one of them. So because he chose the optional and he cleared it in the first attempt, that gave me confidence that okay, political science was a very reachable subject, and because he also thinks the same as me, he would have liked the subject and I will also like the subject. So I looked at the questions. They were very interesting. There were many thinkers in the questions like Aristotle, Gandhi, who I've never tried to study about. And I thought, okay, this is also a good opportunity to study about them, read about them, and try to gain knowledge in those things as well. So I took political science optional, and I attended classes in Delhi, and I wrote down the notes, whatever my teacher used to dictate. And after my preparation in Delhi, I immediately started writing tests for political science. Even before prelims, I started writing. I wrote a few tests in political science. Even though my answers were not very, very good at that point of time, slowly they started the marks started improving because I used to repeatedly read and study the political science, the subjects, because the whole subject is very abstract and it has very abstract concepts. So it was very important to completely understand the concept before even attempting to write an answer. So for example, you take any thinker, we should be able to know if that thinker is given such a question, what would he answer? So I think that is the level of confidence we need to get on ourselves regarding our subject knowledge in the first part of political science. And regarding the optional, I think we can follow this approach. In the second paper of political science, it is international relations. And in international relations, usually current affairs questions come a lot. Application based current affairs questions come. So at that point of time when I was preparing for mains, the major events which were happening was Taliban, slowly gaining power in Afghanistan, and Nepal publishing a map, which has shown some of the areas of Indian territory as theirs. And so these are some of the issues, and USA pulling out of Afghanistan, like I said, and a few others. So what I did, I just took those topics and wrote answers for them, only one answer each. And I repeatedly looked at those answers before going to the mains, and this was very effective for me. So this is how I think in a minimal amount of time, I was able to finish or cover major part of the political science syllabus, because I targetedly looked at what could be the expected questions. And in the first part, I think one of the major things which helped me is in the note making. Note making was one of the things which helped me. So I wrote down notes in Evernote, and in Evernote also I used to put pictures. So pictures, okay, let me take some time. Okay, so in the first paper, I wrote down the notes from my notes. From the notes which I got from class, I wrote down another notes in Evernote. And in Evernote, I used to use Evernote even for prelims, mains and interview as well. So in the Evernote, I used to always add pictures because pictures give us interesting, give us interest to look at the notes and study. Otherwise, I was not able to study a lot. So I used to highlight. I used to put pictures, and for a single topic, I used to put a table, put the pictures of scholars, and in few short words, what are the major concepts of the scholars. So when you repeatedly keep looking at those pictures, these pictures get imprinted in your mind. And as soon as I still remember in my first attempt when I wrote one of the political science answers, there was a direct question on one of the concept. So in that concept, I as soon as I looked at the question, I remembered my Evernote page and the pictures of the scholars. So one by one, quickly I was able to recollect and write the answer. So I think by using such methods, this is one of the methods, and you will watch many other videos, and I think many people will give other ideas as well. We can adapt whichever we think the best is. Okay. So, is it for optional specifically or? Okay, GS. So for GS, I think each paper of GS demands a different approach, because in GS1 we need to include because the concepts are from majorly from geography, history. If we draw more diagrams and if we put them in a representational form, it helps very much. It helps us a lot in GS1. So that is what I used to do in GS1. So whenever there was a question about geography or industries or any historical place, I quickly used to draw a map and spot those places there and just put that picture so that it gives a representational look to the answer. So and for GS3 especially, I think I do not know how many marks I have got in GS3 now, but in the last year I think I got one of the very less marks in GS3, and that was one of the main reasons why my final score was also very low. So this year I changed a little. What I did, I used to include facts and figures wherever possible in GS3. So I think that is one of the methods which GS3 demands, especially because each paper demands in such a way, right, differently. And another way is answer writing practice. Like I said, look at the previous years, the toppers papers, rankers papers. Look how they have written the answers and try to adapt some of those methods and keep experimenting your answers in this way. So for example, you can try to study as less as possible in mains and write as many answers as possible. Keep writing tests, and I think that is more effective way to prepare for mains. All the best to all of you firstly. And so I think to answer your first question, which is how to manage time being a working professional, and I think I won't be able to answer that question, wholeheartedly, because I took a break from my work and I started preparing. So I prepared for 2.5 years, and then only I joined back in a startup again. So the only time where I worked and studied parallelly was during this year's interview preparation. And in this year's interview preparation, what I tried to do, apart from spending time on work, was to look at some innovative methods to spend as less time as possible, and also try to gain as much knowledge or information or prepare for the interview. So I found, like I said again, I found YouTube as a very important source for preparation, because I used to work till around 7 o'clock or 7:30, and or sometimes 8 or even 9 sometimes, and before sleeping you will also feel, I did not study anything that day. So in order to escape that guiltiness or that guilt, what I used to do, I used to relax, lie down on my bed and watch YouTube. And in YouTube, I used to watch Big Picture, or there are many other channels like I used to majorly prepare for international relations, as I thought those were the topics which I asked questions upon in the interview. So there are some YouTube channels which used to provide such debates and discussions. And while watching such debates and discussions, I felt apart from gaining knowledge, we are also learning how to talk, how to present our answer. And so I am getting the best of both worlds in short amount of time. So that is why I chose that approach as YouTube. So in a similar way, for your prelims or mains also, you can choose such methods which will give more, which have more return on interest. And I think that is how you can do it. And what is the other question which was?
Second one was there is ideally two methods to prepare
Yeah, about the note making, right? I think we cannot escape note making at all, because if we listen to the class, I think we'll be able to remember for 1 or 2 days, 3 days at max. But after 3-4 days, we'll lose a lot of points. So I think there is no other way apart from note making, and we cannot escape it. So maybe what I used to do in some of the online classes which I have taken, I used to put them in 2x and start writing notes parallelly. So sometimes you don't need to even watch at the video, you can keep writing notes and keep listening. I used to listen to podcasts and write some notes. So I think there is no other way apart from note making is what I feel. Yes, because we have to go back and look at them. Otherwise, listening to a class is a waste of time. So before the exam, a few days before the exam, or before giving a mock test, it is always better to go back to your notes. How much our notes you have, it need not be exhaustive. It can be very few pages. But if you go back and look at your notes which you have prepared and which you have written in a good manner, you will get a confidence that okay, I'll be able to write this mock test and I have done my part. And this confidence will improve your marks. It is not just the content which we are getting. So I think for that confidence at least we need to write our notes.
one last question. What led, it might be a normal thing, but what led you to come from this working as a working professional, as a techie, to this public service?
Yeah.
What led you, something might have pushed you to come into this service, right? What led you?
Yeah.
What is the driving force?
So, like I said, one of the major things is my friend clearing civil services at that point of time. But that will only inspire me to write the exam, but not go towards the services, right? So, to really put your best into the preparation, I think we need to have a very good, strong desire for why we want to get into these services. And one of my main attractions towards the services was the diversity the services offers. Because in my previous job, I used to code and work on desk, and I used to write code and build some projects and systems. But I thought in the civil services and especially in the administrative services, there is a lot of diversity. So in the morning we can work on health sector. By the evening time we can also gain a lot of knowledge and do some contribution to the education sector, health and education, or many other sectors in a single day. And this diversity is what I thought where I would give my best, because I like to be in different things apart from going in depth into one thing at a single time. So slowly in the initial years of the career, we can use this diversity to find out which area interests us a lot. And as our career builds up and we go deeper into the services, I think we can choose one sector where we can work on, and that is what I have. My current idea is on the services. So Vishnu sir I met during last year's interview phase, and it was only a short phase where we met last year, but our major interaction happened in this year's interview. And in this year's interview, how Vishnu sir has helped me was by taking a one-on-one session. And in that one-on-one session, what I liked was he spent a lot of time in analyzing my DAF, and he picked a lot of questions, and he came up with good questions and most important ones which I might be asked in the interview. And in that one-on-one session, he has asked those questions, and I was able to figure out in the very initial days of my preparation. that okay, in so and so topics I am weak, and he was always approachable also. So if I asked him, sir, in my hometown is Warangal, and in Warangal I was not able to find notes or topics, notes on so and so topic. So he used to search and he used to send those notes as well. So this personal, contribution, and he used to put a lot of work behind, giving us, and also he used to take us sessions also on for a few of us who have gone to the interview. He used to take sessions. He used to ask a few questions on current affairs, and we used to have a discussing session every day. Good evening. Challenges అయితే majorly I think getting demotivated at times, because in the first attempt, prelims, while giving mock tests, in the very first few tests we won't get very good marks. That is a thing with everybody. So at that point of time we would think, okay, I've gone through Lakshmikant, I've gone through Spectrum, I've gone through so and so books so many times, and still I'm not able to get good marks. So we'll get demotivated immediately. So I think at every point, whether it was in prelims or in mains also, in mains I never used to get very good marks in my mock tests. So I always used to feel, what am I doing wrong? Am I not doing in the right way? So this aspect of uncertainty in the exam, meaning what is the right thing to do, what is the right approach. Nobody knows what is the right approach. So I think that part of uncertainty we should keep aside. What things are there in our control, let us do that. And things in my control are, I have to keep writing tests, I have to keep reading material, I have to understand the concepts, and I have to practice. So forget about things which are out of our control. Just these are the certain aspects which are there in our control, and just keep experimenting with our different approaches, and try to see if the results are coming or not. So I think my friend has Sai Teja, who I got inspired from, he has told one thing before I started the preparation. He said this whole preparation is a problem statement. So this whole exam is a problem statement, like any case study, ethics case study which you get. So try to do different things. Try to slowly solve the problem, one step at a time, and slowly, either it is in your first attempt or it is in your second attempt or third attempt or later, we will solve the problem. So look at it as a problem statement. I try to solve that problem. Like, no need to worry about other uncertain aspects. Hi. Thank you.
Louder.
Remembering the facts is very important. So what is your strategy for remembering those facts, and what would be the best way to remember those facts?
Okay. So you are right, and as you said, in prelims, the facts, figures, the years, the names, these are very important. And especially in modern history, there are a lot of years and names which we see. So one thing which I did was, for modern history especially, I used to like the subject. So apart from just looking at a fact and figure, I used to go on Wikipedia and look at the background. So if we remember the background and the concept of that fact or figure, that fact or figure is easy to recollect. Even if you don't remember the year, if we remember the concept or the timeline of events, we'll be able to get to the answer in prelims. And to try to recollect in the exam, or to help us gain that confidence in having the facts and remembering the facts and figures, I think note making is very, very important. And in note making also, try to make your notes as interactive as possible. And I always suggest making notes in Evernote online. And because I always used to put pictures, for example, in geography, all my Evernote pages used to have only maps and pictures, very few words. And it used to be very easy for me to go back and look at this, cover the geography in one day, because I used to look at the pictures and it never used to feel, that I am reading or studying something. It used to feel that, okay, I'm going through the maps, some pictures and something interesting. So even for history also, I used to take that for example, there's an important person who has contributed in our freedom fight. For example, Bal Gangadhar Tilak. So I used to put his photo in the note, and in the note, events, and in the event, let's say I think he expired in 1920 or something. So in 1920 he expired, and what I think around 1918 or 1920, I'm not sure. So what other events happened in that particular year? So I used to keep those events also in the 1920. So this interlinking of concepts, notes. So for example, if we are going through Bal Gangadhar Tilak, we are also looking at what things happened in 1920. Formation of AITUC or other news, other events which happened during that year. So this interlinking will help us indirectly revise. So because you interlink multiple concepts, the first concept you revise, you are indirectly revising second concept, and then you start revising second concept, you are indirectly again revising first concept. So this interlinking makes us revise multiple times by not revising multiple times and only revising once. So I think this is one of the things which you can follow. So I guess. Good
Complex question.
కాంప్లెక్స్ క్వశ్చన్ బట్ ఐ థింక్ అంత లాంగ్ ఆలోచించకుండా ఐ థింక్ జస్ట్ ఆ మూమెంట్ ఆఫ్ టైంలో ఆ మంత్లో మీరు ఏమేమి ప్రిపేర్ అవుదాం అనుకున్నారు, మీరు ఏమేమి సబ్జెక్ట్స్ కవర్ చేద్దాం అనుకున్నారు. సో టేక్ వెరీ షార్ట్ గోల్స్ అని అయితే నాకు అనిపిస్తుంది. మరీ లాంగ్ గోల్స్ పెట్టుకోకుండా షార్ట్ గోల్స్ పెట్టుకొని ఆ షార్ట్ గోల్స్ అచీవ్ చేస్తూ వెళ్తే విల్ డెఫినెట్లీ రీచ్ ద ఫైనల్ గోల్ స్లోలీ. మరీ మనం లాంగ్ గోల్ గురించి ఆలోచించి రిజల్ట్ గురించి ఆలోచిస్తే ఈ జర్నీ ఇంపాక్ట్ అవుతుంది. సో జర్నీ ఎంజాయ్ చేస్తూ షార్ట్ గోల్స్ పెట్టుకొని ఈ మంత్లో నేను ఏం చేయాలి, నెక్స్ట్ మంత్లో ఏం చేయాలి, ఓకే ప్రిలిమ్స్ ముందు వరకు ఈసారి ప్రిలిమ్స్ రాసే ముందు వరకు నేను ఇన్ని టెస్ట్ రాస్తా, ఈ సబ్జెక్ట్స్ కవర్ చేస్తా, ప్రిలిమ్స్ తర్వాత మెయిన్స్ అప్పుడు నేను ఈ కరెంట్ అఫైర్స్ ఇలా నోట్స్ రాసుకొని ఇలా రివైజ్ చేస్తా, ఇన్ని టెస్ట్ రాస్తా అని చెప్పి అట్లా చిన్నగా షార్ట్ ప్లాన్ వేసుకొని వెరీ ఫ్యూ మంత్స్కి ప్లాన్ వేసుకుంటే ఆ తర్వాత ఆలోచించుకోవచ్చు అనేది ఐ ఫీల్.
This is the last question.
థ్యాంక్ యూ.
You did the job nicely and preparing for this stressful exam, very stressful atmosphere. How you overcome the pressure and stress as an aspirant?
Yeah.
We are also feeling as
స్ట్రెస్ అయితే డెఫినెట్లీ స్ట్రెస్ ఈజ్ ఆల్వేస్ దేర్ ఫర్ దిస్ ఎగ్జామ్. వీ కెనాట్ ఎస్కేప్ దట్. Anywhere it is there, and especially for this exam we feel because we are putting a lot at stake, we can easily find out other ways, and there is a lot of opportunity cost, so that gives us more stress. And I think however whichever activity you like, right, I used to only, I think it would not sound right, but I did not used to put as many hours as required, I think, because I used to put mostly 6 to 8 hours every day, and the rest of the day I used to look at Netflix or Prime or watch something, play chess or doing these activities. So if we do focused preparation for a few hours, that itself compensates our enjoyment time, and that is how I used to relax, and I used to meet my friends. Many of my friends stay in Hyderabad, so I used to go out every weekend. So it was never for me, I think it was never so sitting at one place and study always, like all the time. So I used to always go out. I used to meet my friends. I used to talk to them. I used to watch movies. So, but in the amount of time which I prepared, that 8 hours or 6 hours, I used to put a lot of focus. Sometimes when the exam approaches, we used to increase our, I think we need to increase our hours, because before prelims, 1.5 months before prelims, I used to put 12 hours every day, because I used to write a lot of tests. And writing tests was also very interesting for me, because searching for the option, finding out that answer, using techniques, good techniques. So because technique is the thing which is required in prelims a lot. It is as much technique as knowledge. So I think that is why it was very interesting also, and that is why I was able to put so many hours in prelims. But when it comes to mains, it was not very, very interesting, to be frank. So that is where I lacked some of my work hours which I put in, but I used to compensate them by watching YouTube, like I said again, by watching the print. I used to watch Shekhar Gupta's Cut the Clutter. I used to watch Big Picture. So I used to discuss the same things with my friends. So these are some of the ways which we can study and not study at the same time.
Welcome to Vishnu IAS Academy. We are excited to announce the launch of our new courses. Contact us for registrations and counseling. Hard work never fails. Keep learning.